Guys, what's up? So Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. I've been wanting to do a video on this since we've just seen the Manny Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri fight. I've seen a lot of videos of people, I've taken a lot of things in, I've heard what a lot of people have said on Twitter, and I've really been wanting to respond to a lot of things. I've not been able to. Personally, am I a Floyd Mayweather fan? Kind of. At times I'm a diehard fan, at times I'm not. Am I a Manny Pacquiao fan? Yes, I'm a full-time Pacquiao fan. But the reason that I struggle to be a Floyd Mayweather fan at times is because he annoys me in the opponents he chooses. Now, you can say what you want about Pacquiao choosing Chris Algieri, but then when you look at the opponents that Pacquiao's faced prior to Algieri, and you look at the overall resume, you can't just pick one thing out and just say, like, right, look at Rios and look at Algieri and that's it, because you have to look at the other opponents that they faced. And if you take both careers, and you look at even recently, if you look at styles faced, Pacquiao faced Timothy Bradley and Brandon Rios, and look at the difference in styles between the two, and he beat both very convincingly. He took Chris Algieri, who was a mover, underdog. People can say now that Chris Algieri was totally outmatched, but this is a guy that and I do think it was a cherry pick. I'm not gonna lie, I think Pacquiao cherry picked that fight. But then, Pacquiao doesn't really choose his fights like Mayweather does. Pacquiao puts it down to Barbara and picks it. Pacquiao fights anyone. He's not bothered about the style. But the thing is, when we look at both careers and we look at them both, I want to talk about... Forget that. Let's talk about Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Let's talk about the fight, okay? I don't want to go too off topic. Pacquiao versus Mayweather has been going on since I don't know how long, right? And everyone wants to see the fight. And my thing's this, right? Who would win the fight? I'm going to say off the bat Manny Pacquiao. And if you think Floyd Mayweather would win, you don't have to dislike this video. This is not a Mayweather wins, Pacquiao wins. So if Pacquiao wins, if you think Pacquiao wins, press the like button. If Mayweather wins, press the dislike button. It's not that. What this is, I personally feel, overall, taking all the things into account, I think Pacquiao wins. But I feel a lot of people who do these analysis videos, they're very biased and they aren't able to detach themselves as fans from their analysis. And I'm going to include every single thing in this video, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to you about every different advantage they have, who I think would win in what situation, and why, common opponents, styles make fights. I'm going to talk about that. So, let's start off with the common opponents, okay, and the styles make fights scenario. Now, the interesting thing about Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, the very interesting thing is they both struggle against each other's style. And that's just how it goes. But the thing is, first of all, when you look at their opponents, right, you see that recently both fighters have been fighting opponents who are very difficult to knock out. We look at Mayweather's last few opponents: Canelo Alvarez, Robert Guerrero, Marcus Alcino Maidana. And you look at these, you just look at them guys, right? I mean, because these are two fights with Maidana, Canelo and Guerrero. That's now 4 fights he had, and he wasn't able to knock any of them out. To me, the person he should have probably knocked out was Maidana in the second fight. If there was going to be a knockout, he should have knocked Maidana out, because Maidana has been down before. If Mayweather was this pinnacle fighter, which he is, but if he was truly this thing that people make out, he should have been able to knock out Marcus Maidana if he had the power, if he had true power. He should have knocked Maidana out, in my opinion, anyway. But Maidana has never been, totally knocked out like that. He's got a good chin. He goes down from body shots. But I mean, we look at Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri, right? And you see Pacquiao knocked him down 6 times. Some of them knockdowns you could say were not legit, but I mean, and the thing is that the referee in round 9 as well, you have to take everything into account, right? Every little thing. In round 9, the referee counted 9. There was a 10. It was 10 and the guy was still down. The referee, I don't know, that old man, I don't know why they got him out of all referees, right? But he didn't know what he was doing in the fight. This old man, he should have counted 10 and ruled it out, because Algieri's knee was still on the floor, right? He hadn't even got up yet, and when he did get up, he was facing the ropes and stuff, right? That was a knockout to me. In round 9, Pacquiao should have won that fight by knockout because he didn't get up in time. But yeah, he had several knockouts. Several knockdowns in the fight. He absolutely annihilated Chris Algieri. But Chris Algieri is no Mayweather. He is no Mayweather. But we go back and we see Pacquiao. Pacquiao's not shy to face fighters. You know, Pacquiao faced that style. I mean, say what you want, yeah, that Mayweather and Marquez have similarities and Marquez knocked out Pacquiao. But having said that, it took 4 times for Marquez to knock him out. Not only that, Pacquiao faced him 4 times. He didn't duck Marquez. He didn't duck him. He fought the style that troubles him. He fought it, and he was beating Marquez's ass. He was beating him in that 4th fight. He got knocked out. You know, it happened. It's boxing, but he was winning rounds substantially. He knocked Marquez down. He got knocked down once, and then he got knocked out twice. See, I'm looking at everything. I could have, if I was a Pactard, I could have ignored that first knockdown in this analysis, but I'm not. I'm taking into account. He got knocked down once, and he got knocked down twice. It was not a lucky knockdown. Right, it was Marquez. He was very sharp, very clever, and Pacquiao made mistakes and he got knocked out. But it's like, realistically, let's talk about this. Would Mike Alvarado get knocked down by Floyd Mayweather like Marquez did? I just don't see it. I don't see at this age Mayweather being able to knock down Mike Alvarado, let alone knock out flush Manny Pacquiao. And I think Pacquiao's learned from the Marquez fight, and he's evolved from the Marquez fight. Yeah, he was put to sleep cold, but Mayweather hasn't not had a knockout in 8 years, legitly. The Victor Ortiz, come on, man, you can't count that as a knockout. That is not anything like... That was just Ortiz being a fool. And, you know, I like Ortiz. He's a good guy in that, right? I think he's got a decent personality. He makes me laugh. But, like, realistically, right, Ortiz gave up in that fight. And that was it. It was just a paycheck, and that wasn't a knockout. And that was so long ago. The last knockout I could think of was Ricky Hatton. And it's like, since then, Mayweather hasn't even put anyone down, you know? So the first thing I want to address is people are saying Pacquiao hasn't had a knockout in ages. Pacquiao knocked Algieri down 6 times. That to me is good enough. Mayweather hasn't done anything like that. Punching power definitely stands with Pacquiao, in my opinion. People can say what they want, and yeah, you can include like certain testimonies and people have given that. People say that, oh, Mayweather hits harder. There are a few people have said that. But like, overall, come on, let's look at statistics. Look at it, man. Look at it realistically. Pacquiao has more sharp pop to knock you, because you don't see his punches coming. Not like you see Mayweather's coming, but you don't see Pacquiao's punches coming. He hits you from different angles. He's got that overhand left. It's hard. It can knock you down. Let's move on to the next thing, right? Mayweather versus Pacquiao in terms of pure style. So we've talked about Pacquiao, right, struggling against the Marquez counterpuncher style, right? And it's like, you can't compare Chris Algieri to Mayweather. You just can't. They're different, totally different. Different levels, different everything, right? But you can slightly compare Marquez to Mayweather, but the thing is, Mayweather doesn't have the power, in my opinion, of Marquez. He might be bigger, whatever. He's fought bigger guys, but he doesn't have that one punch, knock down, hard overhand right with Marquez. As we've seen Marquez throw that several times now, and we know that Marquez recently has some substantial power with the strength and conditioning works he's been doing with Angel Heredia. Can Alex Ariza bring some strength out in Mayweather? I don't know, but Mayweather is definitely lacking in the strength area at this age. Would he knock Pacquiao out cold? I don't see how he would knock Pacquiao out cold when it's just very difficult to say that I'm going to knock someone out. Because what if that one punch never comes? What if it never comes? What happens then in the fight? And this brings me on to the next thing, the shoulder roll. Okay, now, I want to explain something to you guys. I'm going to have to do this sitting down, right? But, like... Right, the shoulder roll. Okay. I'm going to turn this way. Look, I'm going to look like a fool doing this in the chair. But, look, the shoulder roll. You're fighting here, right? When you have that shoulder roll, right? Someone throws a jab here, Mayweather's got an answer. Jab here, Mayweather's got an answer. Right? Everything... You look at that, I think it... What's his name? Mitty? I'm forgetting what it's called, right? Smitty, I think it is. Yes, Smitty. Mayweather did an in-ring demonstration when he was younger, and he showed that the shoulder roll has an answer for everything. And Mayweather is what? Mayweather's a defensive fighter, right? He's a counter-puncher. He relies upon the shoulder roll at times, right? But I'm going to move on to the other aspects as well. But if you look at Floyd Mayweather, when he uses the shoulder roll, first of all, he faces slow fighters. This is made for slow fighters because you can see the punches coming. You roll it, pat, 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 right? And it's like you're defending your body here. This part's not visible because he's quite, his area of where he fights, right? Hold up. Right, you're not going to be able to see my face, but just 2 seconds. right? If you look at Mayweather, right, when he fights, right, he fights like this, right? When he's got that shoulder roll going on, he fights like this. Sorry, my legs are bent, but he fights like this. And then if you look, there's not much space to hit the body. Whereas someone who fights like Tyson, like this, you've got, and you're square on, you've got all this area to hit. Even Manny Pacquiao, right? He fights with quite a bit exposed here, right? Whereas Mayweather, he gives you a narrow body target. It's very difficult to hit his body because he's fighting like this. Sometimes he'll back up against the rope and he'll square himself up. But basically, the bottom line is, right, Mayweather, Floyd, has an answer for every punch that you can throw in the shoulder roll. But firstly, that's for orthodox fighters. And secondly, it's for slow fighters. And thirdly, right, Pacquiao is not them. He's just not that. He's not that. Pacquiao is a totally different style. The speed of Pacquiao, right? The speed of Pacquiao, the speed of Khan is what would break that Philly shell. And not only that, right? If you think of Mayweather shoulder rolling from here, and he's been... Can you imagine you have to do... Imagine you play football and someone tells you to play left-footed. That is difficult. It's the same for Floyd. He does a shoulder roll this way to do everything backwards where a person's hand, right? Instead of the front hand being the left jab up at here and them throwing this punch to get at you, and you just pat, and it's like muscle memory now for Floyd to be able to roll them punches when he's up against the ropes, right? He's able to. Maidano's throwing it here, he was ducking, he knows it all. You've got to rate him on that, right? But when a southpaw comes, a southpaw does everything backwards. The stance switches, right? The punch that could land would be the overhand left that will go boom and hit Floyd. But look at the Ortiz fight. Look at the Zab Judah fight, right? Ortiz and like Judah are not even like half of what Pacquiao is. Not even half, you know? And people have got to understand this, that Zab Judah dropped Floyd Mayweather. People say technically he didn't. Eagles World, I saw a video, right? So technically, he didn't drop Floyd. What kind of nonsense is that? He dropped. His glove touched the floor. Go back to the video. Check it. It touched the canvas. Okay, it touched the canvas. That's a fact. And tell me in the rules that if a glove touches the canvas, that is not ruled a knockdown. That is a knockdown. Judah dropped him. Judah, if you count that as a 10-8 round, count the other rounds that Judah won. Boom. That was a very close fight. And that's Zab Judah we're talking about. But you know, here's the thing with Floyd Mayweather. Let's digress a little bit, right? And let's talk about this. Mayweather is the king of adjustment. Just because Abjudah did that does not mean Pacquiao can do that. But it gives us a very good indication of why Floyd Mayweather has not fought Manny Pacquiao. Let's move on to the who's ducking who situation quickly. Pacquiao is a promoter, so why is Mayweather speaking to Pacquiao? If Mayweather really wanted to make the fight happen, that 40 million thing that everybody's going to say, why did Floyd Mayweather not approach Barbaram, or one of the team members approach Barbaram? You can't say to Manny Pacquiao, I'm going to wire you money, and Manny Pacquiao just says, okay, let's fight, I'll do it for the 40 million, I'll take it. Is that what Pacquiao's going to say? No, because he can't, because he's under Bob Arum. Bob Arum would sue him if he did that. Do you know what I mean? He can't just go and make a decision like that without Arum. And that's it's just clear, you know? He could have said, yeah, look, I'll discuss it with... But he did say, he said, look, discuss it. You have to talk to my promoter, Bob Arum. He says that because that is his promoter. Mayweather has no promoter. Mayweather has made several excuses about this fight. This is the next part. There's been the excuse about the drugs. Okay? There's been an excuse about the money. There's been an excuse about the splits. There's been an excuse now about the promoter. And it's like, first it was this, then it's this, then it's this. And it's like several. And then also there's been an excuse. Manny Pacquiao has been knocked out by Marquez and has Timothy Bradley problems. So he's rematched Timothy Bradley, beat Bradley. He no longer has them issues. Mayweather is constantly finding different excuses to make to not fight Manny Pacquiao. Whereas Manny Pacquiao, on the other hand, has said, look, I want the fight. He's constantly said, I want the fight. He's openly said, let's fight. Whereas Mayweather doesn't do that. Mayweather tries to avoid the question of Pacquiao. You know, he says, he doesn't say that, I want to fight him, let's get it on. He doesn't say, well, Pacquiao says that, Mayweather doesn't say that. Mayweather makes excuses and says, look, he's got this problem, he's got that problem, this is wrong, that's wrong. He's the one making the excuses for the fight not to happen, whereas Manny Pacquiao was like, let's go, let's fight. Irrespective of what's going on behind the scenes, if you look at the two fighters, who wants to fight more? Clearly, Manny Pacquiao wants to fight more. which brings us on to the next scenario. Pacquiao does not give a damn if he loses. There's not as much pressure on Pacquiao as there is on Mayweather. Floyd has all the pressure. He's the undefeated fighter. He's the A side. If he loses this fight, his credit is totally gone. If Pacquiao loses, he's still a Hall of Famer, six-weight division world champion, beat several fighters, and Pacquiao's still Pacquiao. But if Mayweather loses, we all know what's going to happen. The theory that a lot of people have is that Mayweather is a cherry picker. That's the only reason he's 47-0. He doesn't fight fast boxers. He constantly fights slow, flat-footed brawlers. People want to say Canelo and Cotto are boxers. No, Canelo is very flat-footed. Very flat-footed. He's my favourite fighter is Canelo. More than Amir Khan, Pacquiao, anyone. Canelo is my favourite fighter, right? I just love the way he fights. Maidana is also one of my favourite fighters in terms of stylistically, but they're slow-footed brawlers. Canelo does not have footwork. You cannot compare the footwork of Canelo to someone like Amir Khan, Manny Pacquiao. Compare the two, and there's like Lara. Look at the difference in the footwork. Miguel Cotto, compare the footwork of Pacquiao foot speed and Amir Khan foot speed and Lara foot speed, Keith Thurman foot speed to Cotto. Who's the slowest out of the bunch? Cotto. Which means that Floyd Mayweather has definitely 110% since Zab Judah has not faced any sort of rapid boxer. He's avoided it. And you got to ask why. The only southpaw he's faced is Victor Ortiz. Ask yourself why. What is the reason? Why is he? Maybe because not many southpaws to fight. Okay, but I mean, why avoid fast boxers? Why avoid speed? And I truly think that Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather Senior said, Mayweather doesn't realize himself but he would beat Manny Pacquiao. But Mayweather Senior said that he doesn't realize. We've heard of several people saying. Stephen A. Smith, right, said that Floyd Mayweather was scared, and that was when Stephen A. Smith was in very good terms with Mayweather. So, truthfully, when you walk into a ring not believing you can win, and you're a little bit scared, because Pacquiao doesn't give a damn. Pacquiao doesn't care. He's just a happy guy. He comes in with that big smile on his face. He's not bothered. And you know what it is? My favourite fighter of all times, is Muhammad Ali. Do you know what I mean? Muhammad Ali is my number one pound for pound list. He beat George Foreman and Joe Frazier, and I put him above Ray Robinson. I said it. I said the worst thing you can say. I put Ali above Ray Robinson because although he was 128-1, I feel Muhammad Ali beat the better fighters in his era, and I thought that's for me is number one on the list. And there's a different video for that, but Ray Robinson number 2, Ali number 1. I've got like Roy Jones up there. I've got so many black fighters up there. I read the full biography back to back of Malcolm X. Right, I look up to a lot of black people, but Floyd Mayweather, unfortunately, a lot of black people from the black community need to stop knocking me for speaking the truth. Do you know what I mean? I love Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns is another one of my favourite fighters. I love Tommy Hearns, right? I ain't got nothing against black fighters. That's ridiculous. That is like ludicrous, right? I could tell you more about your history than a lot of you could, right? But the thing is, Michael Jackson is someone I really used to look up to. But the thing is this, black community needs to stop defending Floyd Mayweather so much because constantly, it's like, I understand, like, it just comes with the territory, that just happens. But, like, I feel that a lot of the black community tend to always defend Floyd. Whenever it's on Twitter and someone's backing Floyd, I click it and I just already know it's going to be a black guy, and I click it and it is. And it's like, it's sad because you're not a boxing fan, then are you? Do you know what I mean? You got to speak it like it is. I give Mayweather the credit where it's due. I think that even if Mayweather loses to Pacquiao, I still think that Mayweather can beat people that Pacquiao could never beat. Like Duran. Even someone like Marvin Hagler, who would stand a better chance? Pacquiao or Mayweather? I would say Mayweather. But look, man, you got to take everything into consideration, guys. Marquez is a common ground when you look at the Pacquiao situation. Pacquiao struggled against him, but you got to remember that's 4 fights and that's only 1 fighter. Who else has Pacquiao really struggled against? He's been knocked out how many years ago? How many years ago was he knocked out? When he was very young, okay? Pacquiao went on a spree where he was undefeated for so long. And nothing, he gets knocked out because he takes chances. Mayweather doesn't take chances. And you got to give Mayweather credit where it's due. Is he TB? Nowhere near. I'll say it like it is. I don't care. I'm just gonna speak the truth. If this hurts my channel, hurts interviews, so be it. But let me know what you think. Who do you think would win? I think the speed, southpaw style, the footwork. Another thing, the footwork. Mayweather's legs seem to have diminished a lot. Like if you look at the Maidana fight, you look at his footwork. Who's got faster footwork? Pacquiao. Who's got power? Pacquiao. Who's got more skill? Mayweather. No lie. But I mean, you look at the Maidana fight. If Maidana was able to catch Pacquiao, Mayweather wasn't able to always run away from it. He wasn't able to keep his distance, totally. He was at the rope. He was on ropes at some time. Sometimes I feel that in the first fight he wanted to do it, and he stayed on the rope because he wanted to. So I mean, I'm not being biased in any sort of fashion. It's been a long video. I'm gonna cut it off now. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment section below. Make sure you subscribe as always. Who do you think would win out of Mayweather and Pacquiao? For all the reasons I've stated, Mayweather, I just don't feel he can beat Pacquiao stylistically. I do not think, I'm very confident on it now, that he beats Pacquiao. I don't think he can outpoint Pacquiao because, like, think about it, right? Think about this now. This is another thing I'm going to finish the video off with. Mayweather's favourite move. He's fighting his opponent. He's up out front. He's putting his chin out. He can see with his eyes and he looks at the body language of the person. Maidana throws a punch, back, boom, counter punch. Waiting for it. Canelo throws a punch. What? You think he could do that with Pacquiao? Truthfully, in your heart of hearts, you think he can stick his chin out? And Pacquiao's that slow that his jab will not be able to land on a target that far away. With the experience that Pacquiao's got as well, you don't think he can land on Floyd? You think he'd throw a jab, a loose jab against Mayweather, and Mayweather would just move back and counterpunch it? Really? And you think Pacquiao wouldn't be able to duck that punch? You think that Pacquiao's footwork would? You think that the start-stop thing with Pacquiao, where he goes pat 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 pat, where he goes back and forward, you think that he wouldn't like either lunging forward with the jab? You think he'd just stand still, flat-footed, and jab? No, he jumps in with the punch. He can jump in with the punch. Okay, he's not like Canelo or Guerrero or these lot who stand and jab with their feet firmly planted on the ground, because they are what you call flat-footed power punchers. No disrespect, but that's what they are. Let me think. Comment section below. Subscribe as always. In a bit, guys.